Beautiful souls, do you have a prayer request or want us to send you healing energy today? Would you like us to be praying for you, a friend, or a loved one? If this is you, go to worldslargestprayernetwork.com to submit your prayer requests. And while you're there, please join our team of prayer warriors. Your angels say that prayer not only opens you to miracles, raises your vibration, and helps you heal, but the more you pray, the more God's presence is felt here on earth. Feel your angels' love right here, right now, as they surround you, and be on the lookout for positive, loving messages that are meant specifically for you in today's episode. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancius, and today we have Jennifer on the show to share her angel stories. Jennifer and I have worked together for a long time now, and I know that you will just love her energy. She is a beautiful, radiant soul, inside and out, and I know that you'll really connect with these stories today. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, yes. So I'll have you take it away and share your angel stories.
Okay, I have two today. My first one involves my mom. I'm an only child, and just growing up, my mom would always kind of play with my hair. She would sort of have this way of tucking it behind my ears. I would always remember back then when you didn't have to wear seatbelts too often, I would lay like on the front seat with her, and she would always play with my hair and just sort of tuck it behind my ears. And it was just so calming. It was so relaxing. And she, could put me to sleep. Whenever I was going through something difficult, she would just, smooth my hair back and just always soothe me. And that was kind of her little way of showing that she cared. So she died in 1990. She died, she had breast cancer that went to her brain. She had like 8 brain tumors, and it was pretty quick from diagnosis from the time she was diagnosed to when she passed away. She died on my 22nd birthday. And I mean, that was like, of course, devastating, but I would always think, I had a birthday and she had a birthday that day. So that was kind of a way to sort of help with some of the pain. I grew up Catholic, and so and was fairly spiritual growing up. So I knew that she was okay, and everything was fine. So fast forward to about 2010, and my husband and I were watching a movie, and we were laying on opposite sides of the couch. So my head was on one end and his head was on the other, and so our feet were sort of touching in the middle. And out of nowhere, I got this sensation of having my hair tucked behind my ear. And I was like, did you just do that? And he said, no, I'm laying over here. You would have felt me, if I had, moved or, whatever, I would have felt it. And I'm like, okay. So, and a few minutes later, I got it again, this sensation. And I just was like, stop it. He said, I'm not doing anything. I promise you would feel me. You would have seen my feet move or felt me get up. And I said, okay, all right. And then within a couple of minutes, it happened for a third time. And I said, but this is crazy. Like it wasn't the air conditioning. It wasn't air blowing. It was just specifically this feeling of being touched behind my ear. And it really, I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. I had this feeling, and I didn't feel like a presence or anything. It took me a long time to kind of put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, wow, I think my mom was here. And so, I just kind of chalked it up. I haven't felt it since. But yeah, I chalk it up to her.
I love that. That's so, yeah. Well, and it really resonates too, like when you feel their presence or something happens and then you just feel their energy, and you know that it is them coming
Right.
through. And they don't just come through with the cardinal signs or the number signs. They do come through in different ways. I love that, Jennifer.
Right. Yeah. So, and since, taking the Angel Reiki school and everything, and connecting with her, I definitely have felt her presence more now, where it's just this overwhelming just sense of her being here and kind of like this hug. So, yeah.
Do you think that the Angel Reiki school helped you to understand what that was or what that felt like?
Absolutely. I mean, and also with the Angel membership, writing a letter to your loved ones, that was part of it. And so, yes, absolutely. I have absolutely been awakened, and I'm so much more open and can definitely tell when things are happening. Yes, absolutely. Awesome. So thank you for that.
Oh, no, thank you. So talk to us too about the second angel story.
Okay. So back in 1999, I was diagnosed with what's called Meniere's disease. And that is a progressive degeneration of the inner ear. There's no cause, there's no cure. A lot of the symptoms, mainly there's 4 symptoms. You can be dizzy, this vertigo just out of nowhere. You can have ringing in your ears, you can have fullness, and then you can have decreased hearing. So you can have one of those symptoms at a time. You can have all, you can have a combination. There's no cause, there's no cure, and there's just no way of knowing what's going to bring it on. And so over the years, I would have these symptoms, and you kind of just sort of treat it with, not a lot of caffeine, not a lot of salt, anything that would be a lot of fluids. So I had a particular long problem. I had like a 6-week stretch of having this, and my symptoms was my ringing and the decreased hearing. And it went on for 6 weeks. And for some reason, even though your hearing is decreased, sounds are amplified. So at the time I was working, I'm a nurse, I was working in the intensive care nursery, and it was very loud. I mean, there were babies crying, and there's monitors going off, and there's, people talking. The radio was on. So it just a lot of noise. And it had gotten to me because it was just so amplified. And, I had been to acupuncture, and they had me on some steroids to try to help, and some diuretics, and really nothing was helping. Usually those help, but just nothing was helping. So finally I was laying there in bed one night, and I was just exasperated. And I just said, God, I have done everything I can. I just need your help. I just take this away. I can't deal with this anymore. And within like 10 seconds, and I wasn't asleep, I was wide awake. I had just had my eyes closed, but within 10 seconds, I had gotten this vision of Jesus. And he was crouched down, and I can remember it as plain as day, crouched down kind of on this dirt road. He was talking to somebody, and he was kind of behind this white wall, or in front of this white wall, and talking to somebody. And he had this sort of white cloak on, white hooded cloak. And it was almost as if I was standing in front of him. And he, in the middle of him talking, he turned and he looks right at me and he stood up, and he comes right over to me, and he puts both his hands on my ears, and he said, "You will be healed." And within, I'm not kidding, 5 seconds, my symptoms were totally gone. Ringing was gone. The fullness was gone. It just stopped. And I was like, whoa, whoa. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. And that was in 2012. I've only had one more episode of the Meniere's problems since then, but I used to get them frequently. So I don't know. Yeah.
That's incredible. So yes. Let's talk about this for a second, because Jesus does come through to people. Yeah. Like I've had dreams of Jesus before. I've had a lot of people write in about Jesus coming through, and it's not just Jesus. There's all ascended masters, right? Buddha, Muhammad, will come through to different people too. But when this experience happened for you, it wasn't like you were sleeping, you were awake. But from going through the Angel Reiki school that like when a presence is with you, it's just with you. And I tell a lot of people, it's kind of like when you get a hankering for a food, you're like, I just got to go get Thai food. Thai food's our favorite here in Wheaton. we love this Thai food place. We like the chicken rama, and like you have to have it, right? And so you're
Right.
thinking about it, now you're drooling about it, but that energy of the Thai food is with you. It's the same thing when there's an energy with you, and that could be an angel, that could be a loved one, that could be somebody from your spirit team, that could be Jesus, Mary, Buddha, Mohammed,
Right.
anybody. But you felt the presence.
Right. And again, this was, I mean, I was always fairly spiritual but had never really had that feeling before. And so, and of course now it's different. I feel different now going through everything and just knowing, but back then I was just like, wow, I didn't know if I was just, hallucinating, or did this really happen? Or is this, a placebo thing? I don't know, but it was gone immediately.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Friend, if the idea of connecting to your angels and changing your life using your very own spiritual gifts sounds amazing and is deeply resonating with you today, I want you to go on my website and check out my angel membership. Registration is open. Sign up today and you'll get access to new course content and events each week and a private community. Members love how everything you need for your spiritual awakening is all in one place. Sign up today. Angel membership. It's incredibly healing. Also, the winner of this month's free reading with me is in the show notes below. Leave a 5-star positive review of my podcast or book, and you could be next month's winner. Lastly, check out the upcoming events page on my website, theangelmedium.com, because we have a lot of upcoming events that I know you're going to be interested in. As a nurse, what has been your experience with people who pray? Like, do you find that people who remain hopeful? And I know you work with more babies, right? And you worked in the neonatal unit for a long time?
Yeah, I worked in the NICU for 19 years. And right now I'm currently in the newborn, like the postpartum, the new moms and the new babies. So people aren't, sick per se. But I have felt that, if I've prayed for somebody, they have felt that some of their symptoms might have alleviated a little bit. I definitely now, especially like with group praying and group healings, I definitely feel more energy going out to the world. I don't have too many personal stories of, how do I put this? Me specifically praying for somebody and them saying they've definitely been healed of something.
No.
I definitely, like with doing the Reiki, and I can feel heaviness in certain areas and things like that. And they have felt better afterwards, or they were amazed that, that I can pick up on that I knew about that. And so more so with the Reiki than the praying. I had more experience with Reiki than I have praying, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. So tell me this too, because the angels are saying to ask you this question as well. They said you had a moment where it just clicked for you, like this aha moment in the Angel Reiki school of like, okay, this is how this works and I can do this. Can you, or would you be willing to share that with people?
Yeah. I think with starting off with the volunteers, not so much people I knew, but people that I didn't know. Probably when you would give us the names of the volunteers. So these are people that I didn't know. And I would tend to do the automatic writing beforehand to try to just get a little bit more information. And it was one of the first volunteers that I didn't know. And I was getting all these different images or, visions, images, things that, I'm just writing it down. I had no idea. I'm like, I'm just going to write it down. It might not make sense. But when I did the session and they were validating this, I think it was the first one that I didn't really know. And she was like, you are spot on. You are just, this is so, and it was things that was, how do I put this? Things that there's no way I could have known. And again, things that just did not make sense to me, but made complete sense to them. And so I thought, well, I'm getting this from somewhere. It's coming from somewhere, from angels or from out there. And, and finally I was like, wow, this is, I never knew I had this gift. So yeah, that was one of the first people that I worked on. Yeah.
I love that. And that energy just compounds and compounds and compounds when you work on like person after person who you don't know.
Right.
And it happens again and again in every session. And you're like, you get this validation and this concreteness begins to build as your foundation. That kind of gives you permission.
But, I was seeing this little red house on this little 1-story brick house. And so I wrote it down, and it turns out that the person that I was working on she lived on what was a plantation back in the 1800s. And they were a family of farmers. And what I was seeing were the slave quarters, which were little red houses. And she said, she came back to me. She said, you can Google this. This is because she wasn't sure at the time. And she got back to me. She said, oh my gosh, this is what this was. You can Google it. And sure enough, I Googled it. And that's exactly what I saw. Wow. And yeah. And another thing, the same person, like I had gotten an image of an owl in a tree. And so I just wrote that down. I said, I don't know what this means, but there's an owl sitting in a tree. And she said, I've ordered this sculpture of an owl in a tree and it's on its way. It'll be here in a couple of days. I'm like, okay, so there's no way. I'm just, like I said, there's no way I could have known any of this, but I'm just writing down what it is. So many different things. And yeah, finally I was just like, this is amazing. So yeah.
Wow. I love that. I love that. Well, it's so funny. Everybody comes into the program too. And the first 4 weeks or, like the first half, people are like, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm doing it right. And there is a lot of component of working through your own egoic mind. But if you get through all 4 of like the real layers to this, it goes very, very deep and it builds and compounds off of one another. And then it never fails. I always get the email like, oh my goodness, it clicked. I got it. I understand this now, which is just like the most fun to get to experience. When it comes to your own life now, you and I have done a lot of work together. How do you feel like you receive your own messages in your own life? Do you feel like that's more clear to you as well?
Yes. I definitely get, especially if it's repeated, that little voice that says you need to do something, and I might not act on it, and it'll come through again, a little bit louder. And finally, by the 3rd time, I'm okay. Yeah, I got it. All right. I need to go ahead and follow and not question. Yeah, definitely. I do get the little voice or the little nudges, and yeah, definitely am following things, not so much questioning where I would before. And now I just go with it, and I don't question, and it all works out.
I love it. And that does happen, right? Because the more and more we see it happen within our own life, and the more that we hear that repeating voice, we learn to trust it. We learn to trust intuition. Jennifer, we're doing something new on the podcast too. And if you don't want to do this, I'll have the podcast editor cut it out. But we're just saying a prayer at the end. That way everybody can kind of come together as a collective and just send love energy out into the world. Because you know the nursing profession so well, having worked in it for decades, would you be willing to lead us in a prayer that everybody can join in on? For nurses?
I will try my best. Sure. So yes, let's just all come together and just take a deep breath. And God, we pray for everybody in the healthcare service to just go out to those who are needing our help today and every day. Just keep everybody in their thoughts and in your prayers. For anybody who's needing some special help. I know with COVID, it's been a long haul, and it's still here. So we pray for everybody still going through any problems with COVID or any family members or friends, if we could keep them in our thoughts and prayers, and just be with everybody today in whatever capacity they need some help today. Just be with them and give them comfort.
I love that.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you for leading us in that. And thank you for being
you're welcome.
to share your stories today. I love that. You feel
You're so welcome.
and you see and you hear, and you've got all these great gifts. And I'm so excited for the work you're going to do for the world.
Thank you. And prayer, it is wonderful. It is amazing. I do feel it reaches everybody in the world. So continue.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me.
You too. Beautiful soul, thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Julie. You know I'm all about connecting you with messages from your angels and loved ones on the other side. If you've been listening today and you're super excited and just have to know which angels are sitting around you now, who's connecting with you, and how they're supporting you, go to theangelmedium.com. Register for a virtual session. You can do a reading with me or a member on my team. We're all incredible. We all talk to angels daily, and we can help you in making sure that your angels are doing the best they can to support you and guiding you to the life you want to live. Virtual sessions, they're only offered on my website, never offered on social media, only offered on theangelmedium.com. Sign up today. And if you're the person who's really excited, you're ready to go all in developing your unique spiritual gifts, growing your intuition, starting your own healing business, you can sign up for my Angel Reiki School to become a certified angel messenger. That's for the healers among us who feel called to grow their intuition to the max and serve humanity with their gifts. You'll learn energy healing, mediumship, how to deliver angel messages, and business mastery skills. That's the Angel Reiki School. You can find more information on theangelmedium.com or DM me over on Instagram at Angel Podcast with any questions you have. Friends, before you go, connect with your angels by placing your hand on your heart, taking a deep breath. Imagine a doorway filled with God's unconditional love in front of you. I want you to step into that love in front of you. And I want you to feel it as it fills your body, your chakras, and your auric field. Now ask your angels, what would you have me know today? And open yourself to the positive, loving messages they have just for you.